Benjamin Franklin Biography. Boston, January 17, 1706. Philadelphia, April 17, 1790. Was a politician, polymath, scientist and American inventor. He is considered one of the founding fathers of the United States. Franklin won the title of the first American for his early and indefatigable campaign for colonial unity, initially as author and spokesperson in London for several colonies. As the first ambassador of the United States in France, he exemplified the nascent American nation. Franklin was instrumental in defining the American ethos as a marriage of the practical values of saving, hard work, education, community spirit, self-governing institutions and opposition to political and religious authoritarianism, with the scientific and tolerant values of the Enlightenment. In the words of the historian Henry Steele Commager, in a Franklin you could merge the virtues of Puritanism without its defects, the illumination of the Enlightenment without its heat. For Walter Isaacson, this makes Franklin the most accomplished American of his age and the most influential in inventing the kind of society the United States would become. Franklin became a successful newspaper publisher and printer in Philadelphia, the leading city in the colonies, publishing the Pennsylvania Gazette at the age of 23. He became rich by publishing this and Almanac of Poor Ricardo, of which he was an author under the pseudonym Richard Saunders. After 1767, he was associated with the Pennsylvania Chronicle, a newspaper that was known for its revolutionary sentiments and criticism of British politics. Benjamin Franklin was the 14th son of a total of 17 brothers, for half-brothers of father and the rest brothers of father and mother. Son of Josiah Franklin 1656 to 1744 and his second wife Abia Folger. His training was limited to basic studies at the South Grammar School, and only until he was 10 years old. First he worked helping his father in the factory of candles and soaps of his property. After seeking satisfaction in other trades, sailor, carpenter, mason, turner, at the age of 12 he began to work as an apprentice in the printing press of his brother, James Franklin. At his suggestion, he writes his only two poems, La Tragedia del Cerro and Canto de un Moreno, when he captured the famous pirate Edward Teach, also known as Blackbeard. In 1723 he settled in Philadelphia, but in 1725 he traveled to England to complete and finish his training as a printer at Palmer's Printing House. There he published dissertation on freedom and necessity, on pleasure and pain. He returned to Philadelphia on October 11, 1726. Initially he worked as an administrative officer for Denham. In 1727, after recovering from a pleuritis, he co-founded the intellectual club Junto, and the following year he established with his partner Hugh Meredith his first own printing press. In September 1729 he bought the Pennsylvania Gazette newspaper, which he published until 1748. In 1730 he married Deborah Red, with whom he had 3 children: William 1731, Francis 1733, and Sarah 1743. He also published the Almanac of Poor Richard 1733–1757 and was responsible for the issuance of paper money in the British colonies of America 1727. In 1723, at the age of 17, he engaged in marriage to Deborah Red, aged 15. Finally, they were married in 1730. At age 24, Franklin recognized the paternity of an illegitimate son named William, welcoming him into his home. The couple also had 2 legitimate children: Francis Folger Franklin, who died at 4 years old victim of smallpox, and Sarah Franklin, born in 1743, who procreated in turn 7 children. Franklin was an expert chess player, about whom he came to write essays. In his last years of life, Franklin became ill with obesity, an illness that caused numerous health problems and aggravated the psoriasis he had suffered throughout his life. Franklin was a prolific scientist and inventor. In addition to the lightning rod, he also invented the so-called Franklin furnace or Pennsylvania chimney 1744.